What's up, Eagles fans? Welcome into the All-22 review driven by AAA. I'm Fran Duffy, joined by NFL Film senior producer Greg Cosell. Hard-fought loss by the Eagles here on Sunday afternoon, down in Arlington, Texas against the Dallas Cowboys. An overtime loss, 29-23. Very, very tough, and it could have gone either way. There were a lot of different moments we can look back on in the game. We're going to break down a lot of the key plays, and it started with a very early turnover, one that was proved crucial in the game. Well, Greg, the first play we're going to look at here is going to be this Rasul Douglas interception. This came early in the second quarter. Eagles down 3-0. Dallas is driving. They're moving the ball pretty well here, and they get down to the high red zone, and we see an interception here for Rasul Douglas. Take us through what he was seeing here on the play.
This was a critical play, by the way. But what you have here, let's start. You see the tight end for the Cowboys right here. And this is a closed formation, meaning there's no receiver outside of him. So that's why you see Rasul Douglas where he is, because he's the corner with no wide receiver outside. He moves inside more into the core of the formation, and he lines up over the tight end. But that also tells you that the Eagles are playing zone coverage, because if they were playing man-to-man, he would not be matched up to the tight end. Now, what the Cowboys are trying to do here is all the way over here is Amari Cooper. Cooper's going to run an over route across the field. And that's what they're trying to get here, the Cowboys. That's what Dak Prescott sees. It's zone coverage. He feels he can hit him moving across the field in a void in the zone. So let's start this right now and take a look, keeping our eyes on Douglas and Cooper, and freeze it right about here. Now, notice what Douglas is doing. There's the tight end. Now, that's in his zone right now. But because this is zone, he's playing him outside leverage. He's not matching up man-to-man. And his eyes are back inside. So he can see both inside, and he can also see back at Dak Prescott. This is really good zone technique by Rasul Douglas. So what you'll see here, as we and again, here's Cooper. We should repoint him out as he's working across the field on his over route. So now let's get rid of this, Fran, and let this go. And you'll see that Douglas does a great job peeking back in, seeing the throw, and then reacting to it. That's outstanding zone technique, great reaction to the ball by Rasul Douglas.
Yeah, a big part of being a good zone corner is understanding how offenses are going to try and attack you in zone coverage. So if you have a feeling, hey, I'm in cover 3, or if I'm in cover 2, this is what an offense is likely to do to me. It feels like that's what happened on that play.
No question. And the good thing there, what he did, is you try to be aware of the routes and of the quarterback. You try to read both together.
Well, in the third quarter, the Eagles got another big turnover, and this one was big, Greg. They're down 9-0 here, and they have the Cowboys backed up, and they get a huge interception from Corey Graham. Let's take a look at this play, and it starts really with a bad throw from Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's really what it is, but you'll see that here's Corey Graham right here. Right now, he looks like he's a deep middle defender, but look at his body position. He's clearly facing to his right, and that tells you that he's going to move in that direction at the snap of the ball. And basically, he's just playing over the top. And what you're going to get here is a dig route by Michael Gallup, who'll come into the screen. And as you said, Fran, this is an overthrow. You could argue that Gallup was open, but and we can run it and you'll see it. Dak Prescott just overthrew an open receiver here. But hey, in a game like this, where one play could mean a big deal, that's exactly what happened. And Corey Graham actually made a nice interception because the ball was tipped by Gallup on the high throw.
Yeah, a lot of people have asked, where are the turnovers at with this Eagles defense? And Jim Schwartz has said, you got to just make the plays when they come to you, and that's Corey Graham making the play when it comes to you.
Exactly what happened right there.
Yeah, absolutely. So big play here, and it leads to this touchdown catch by Alshon Jeffery. So after that interception by Corey Graham, we now have this touchdown throw from Carson Wentz to Alshon Jeffery. And it's on a play, Greg, that we've seen earlier in the season. The Eagles scored a touchdown against the New York Giants a couple months ago on this very same play, same part of the field, right inside the 2-yard line. Tell us what we're seeing here on this play.
It's a really good play down here because what you get is normally you can't really get true press man where they're right up on the receivers. So what you're getting is a natural rub element or a natural pick. And here's Alshon Jeffery right out here, and here's Nelson Aguilar in the slot. But now in order to create this, what they do here is they take Jeffery and they're going to motion him tighter to the formation so they can really use Aguilar's release as a natural rub. And that's exactly what they do. And plus, when you do send a receiver in motion like this, the corner, he can't work forward. He has to either work laterally or even take a step back. That's the way it works. So now let's run this and just see exactly what we mean and then freeze it right about there. You see exactly how this is set up. Okay, there's Byron Jones. Look where he is. He is in no position to play this. There's Jeffery right behind Aguilar, so you get the natural rub element. Simple, basic concept. Let this run and you'll see it play out. And it ends up being a touchdown, but just really well designed, well executed.
Yeah, and I like what they did too by putting 3 receivers to the boundary on the other side. That helps erase some traffic there on the direction of the play.
Yep,
absolutely. So now let's go to the late in the fourth quarter, and this is just an insane sequence of plays back and forth here. It was a low-scoring game going into the back half of this fourth quarter.
Not a very exciting game either.
Yeah, and then it completely flipped the script here. Well, let's take a look at Carson Wentz's game-tying touchdown. This made it 16-16. It ends up going to Dallas Goedert, but it starts. Let's just start on the opposite side, the top side of the field. What are you seeing here?
Well, actually, the design of this play, Fran, is to work to the field. And we saw earlier a touchdown to Jeffery where they used the natural rub element with Nelson Aguilar in the slot. This in some ways is similar. And if you could point out Aguilar in the slot, he's right here, and Jeffery outside of him. Now what they're going to do here is something very similar. They use Aguilar to attack the corner with the idea that Jeffrey's going to then work inside. So that's the design of the play. That's what Carson Wentz would like to go. That's the primary. But what happens is Damian Wilson, the linebacker, who's sitting right here, reads this. And he actually gets in perfect position to take away that throw. So let's keep that in mind. Let's go now to the boundary side, okay? What they're going to do here is run basically a high-low concept. They're going to have Zach Ertz. He's going to run a little out and return, kind of a pivot inside, and Dallas Goedert from the line of scrimmage tight end is going to run what we call a stick nod go. So that's the backside of the route combination. So keep all this in mind, and let's now clear this and run it, and we can at least get to the initial part of this, which is very good. So let's say right about here, notice one thing that's happening. There's Aguilar, and there's Jeffery now working. But look at Wilson, as we said. Wilson has his eyes right on. He recognizes the concept. He's taking this away. So what's going to happen is Carson will look there, and then he'll come back and work to the boundary side of the field. And it's Dallas Goedert who's running the stick nod go. One thing to keep in mind, the safety, Xavier Woods, Wentz isn't necessarily trying to move him because the design is initially up top, but Woods, reading Carson Wentz, stays to that side, and that does create space for the throw to Goedert. So let's play it out, and you'll see the touchdown. It's really nicely done by Carson Wentz because you're in the tight red zone, and the ball has to be thrown with some velocity and precision accuracy.
And that was an outstanding play by Dallas Goedert, who on the next possession almost made an even better play and should have made a better. He did make a much better play. Came back on an erroneous offensive PI call, which we could talk about at a later date. But the Eagles tied the game on that throw, 16-16. So after a long touchdown catch by Amari Cooper, the Eagles are now down by another touchdown. We almost see that play that we talked about earlier with Dallas Goedert scoring on a long touchdown grab. But since that does come back, the Eagles now have to drive the length of the field. They do that. They've got it on the doorstep here, and they score a touchdown. But, Greg, they get into a form of their hurry-up that's really impressive. Tell us why this is a form of hurry-up.
It's a form of hurry up because what you're trying to do is you're trying to create problems for the defense getting lined up. See, that's why teams go hurry up tempo, is they want the defense to struggle to line up and create the needed communication to be able to defend the offense. So what the Eagles do here, this is a formation. They're not going to snap the ball, but obviously as soon as Carson Wentz gets under center, the defense does not know that the ball won't be snapped. They have to be prepared for that to happen. So what do the Eagles do? Right now, let's run it, and you'll see they immediately go into a major shift. Look at the defense. They're starting to move as well. Right now, they're just trying to get lined up. So it has the effect of hurry-up tempo. But now, as the Eagles do get lined up, let's talk about what actually happens here. Because what they're going to do now is Carson Wentz is going to work to the boundary side of the formation. And essentially, they're going to run a basic route concept that everybody runs in the red zone. It's what we call a flat 7 combination. You're going to take Zach Ertz, he's going to run the 7 route or a corner route. And here you're going to take Darren Sproles from the backfield, and he basically runs to the flat. It's a little deeper, but it's the same concept, a flat 7 combination. And Carson Wentz works off the reaction of the defense. If that corner jumped Sproles really hard, he'd probably throw the 7, and we've seen him do this throw the 7 to Ertz. But as the defense drops, he gets the ball, and again, because this was only second down, you're certainly not going to take a shot and gamble, so you throw the ball to Darren Sproles. So let's run this now, and you'll see exactly how it plays out. They're all set. The Cowboys are still communicating. Here you see the route concept. You see Sproles. He's open, gets it to him, and this is what Sproles is so good at. He might be short, but he's certainly strong.
Yeah, absolutely. So they tie the game there at 23, and they go to overtime. The Eagles end up losing in overtime. A hard-fought game until the very end. You said earlier it wasn't the best game to watch the first 3.5 quarters.
No, it was not.
Certainly, you saw this Eagles team fight tooth and nail to try and come away with a victory.
Yeah, they really did, and obviously in the NFL, giving great effort, all that's wonderful. You have to win the games, and this is a really tough loss on the road at Dallas, and who knows where this season goes from now. I know they need some help to make the playoffs, but it turned out to be a really, really good football game.
Yeah, so we'll talk about this game this week on the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast. Keep an eye out for that Monday night on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher, and we'll be back next week to break down the Eagles versus the Rams right here on the All-22 Review, driven by AAA.